Dana Perino, one of America's most trusted media voices, has shaped the national conversation for decades. From the chaotic White House briefing room to programs like The Five and America's Newsroom, she is the calm at the center of every storm. But few remember she began far from power. Born in tiny Evanston, Wyoming, Dana grew up without privilege, learning resilience from the harsh land, her disciplined parents, and summers on her grandfather's unforgiving ranch. Work, solitude, and quiet endurance shaped her early years, teaching her that strength is forged in hardship. By her teens, Dana was already balancing pre-dawn shifts at a PBS station and late nights at a radio booth, learning discipline, patience, and composure that would define her career. Every challenge, every small loss, built the foundation for the confident, steady voice America would one day rely on. Her journey to Washington was no different. Arriving as a quiet staff assistant with no connections or safety net, she worked tirelessly, eventually becoming press secretary for Congressman Dan Schaefer, a role that demanded more than anyone expected of her. Long before the White House podium, Dana had already mastered the hardest lesson life can teach: staying steady when the world shifts without warning. Reporters tested her, staffers underestimated her, and every press inquiry felt like a small trial by fire. Yet Dana wrote with precision, briefed with clarity, and remained calm under questioning, a quiet mastery that would define her on the national stage. In a city that rewards volume, she built credibility through skill and steadiness. Her rise was slow but deliberate, each step earned. Then, in 1998, Congressman Dan Schaefer retired, and Dana's small world vanished overnight. At 26, she faced not just job loss, but a sense of dislocation. Amid this uncertainty, she met Peter on a flight, married within 11 months, and moved to England. There, her career paused, replaced by quiet afternoons in a foreign city and the loneliness of what she had left behind. When 9/11 struck, Dana returned to the U.S., carrying lessons of endurance, hunger, and isolation. At the Department of Justice, she became a calm voice amid national crisis, transforming personal resilience into public steadiness. Every setback, every empty studio, every lost opportunity had prepared her to lead when it mattered most. In 2002, she joined the Council on Environmental Quality, learning to navigate sensitive policy and the invisible grind of governance. These were the first whispers of the endurance that would define her White House tenure. By 2005, at just 33, she became Deputy Press Secretary under Tony Snow and Scott McClellan, stepping into the national spotlight, facing press rooms where every word, glance, and pause was dissected. Barely 5'1", Dana stood with composure that belied her size. Behind the calm was private struggle, heart racing, palms damp, chest tightening. But she pressed forward. The crucible of leadership arrived when Tony Snow was diagnosed with cancer. Thrust into the unforgiving spotlight, Dana delivered statements that balanced personal grief with national duty, learning that the world demands composure, even when the heart is breaking. Courage cloaked in control, fear gnawing beneath, Dana's private anguish often collided with public duty. In 2007, at 35, she became the second female White House press secretary, stepping into a role where every word and expression was magnified. The glory of the position came wrapped in exhaustion. 7-day weeks, 14 16-hour days, relentless travel, and constant scrutiny that left little room for rest or personal life. Dana's health and emotional reserves were stretched to the limit. Stolen moments in locked bathrooms became her only refuge. She emerged as the nation's most trusted voice. But at home, the woman Peter knew was often missing. When Bush's presidency ended in 2009, Dana left the White House with acclaim and private scars. Seeking renewal, she spent a month volunteering in South Africa, reflecting on both triumph and cost. Returning to the U.S., Dana joined Fox News, bringing the composure and insight honed in the White House to millions of viewers. Her presence was commanding yet human, informed by years of crisis management. She traveled, lectured, and wrote, translating resilience and courage into a national legacy. Behind the public persona, her personal life carried quiet truths. Dana married Peter McMahon in 1998, a love forged across distance, age, and previous histories. Their union was steady and sincere, yet some dreams, like motherhood, remained unrealized, a subtle ache alongside a life of service and ambition. Together, they built a family in their own way. Dogs Henry and Jasper brought warmth, joy, and the rhythm of home. When Jasper passed in 2021, Dana's tear-streaked face on air offered a rare glimpse of vulnerability, a moment where the armor she carried so carefully finally cracked. But behind the televised grief lay a private devastation, a home suddenly hollow, a silence too large to fill, a loss that pressed on her chest. Percy arrived later, bringing laughter and chaos, yet the space Jasper left remained, a soft, steady reminder that love never leaves without taking a piece of you. Time, as always, remained a quiet, relentless adversary. In her early 50s, Dana carried decades of life in her spine, while Peter, in his early 70s, bore the marks of a long-lived life. Minor ailments, slower movements, quiet evenings together, all became lessons in the fragility and preciousness of time. She learned that every laugh, touch, and whispered word was a gift borrowed from the hours that remain. Loving someone older became a discipline of the soul. Noticing the rituals of breakfast, the shared jokes, the slow walks along the shore, and the quiet presence that outshone drama. Peter became her anchor, meeting her White House exhaustion not with questions, but with tea, steady hands, and listening. When the glare of cable news threatened to overwhelm her, he reminded her that their home, not the outside world, held her truth. Their move to Bay Head brought life into gentle rhythm. Morning walks with Percy, simple dinners, quiet conversations. Love, they discovered, need not be perfect to be extraordinary. A home could feel full without children. Devotion was measured not in drama, but in constancy. Choosing someone older was not sacrifice. It was commitment, lived in small, enduring acts. As Dana found peace with Peter, Tony Snow, the mentor who taught her to stand firm, faced a battle with colon cancer. To the public, he commanded press conferences with authority. To Dana, he revealed a strength she hadn't yet recognized. He taught her composure, shielding her while preparing her to carry the voice of government. Dana later called him the big brother she never had. When Tony grew weaker and stepped back for treatment, Dana faced the press alone, each briefing a quiet act of courage. In July, he passed. More than a mentor, he was a brother and anchor. Dana's grief was private and profound, yet from that loss, she discovered new depth and resilience, carrying forward the courage he had instilled in her. Tony's guidance became her compass, his lessons her shield. Every achievement that followed, her composure on Fox News, mentoring young journalists, writing books, bore his quiet imprint. Dana reflects, "It is the cracks in my heart that created the depth America sees in me today." Now, in her early 50s, Dana's life is serene, built on decades of discipline and service. In Bay Head, New Jersey, her home is a sanctuary, filled with sunlight, ocean breezes, books, and memories of Jasper and Percy, a peaceful landing after a life of motion. Her days with Peter are quiet and full, shoreline walks, simple dinners, and shared laughter. Yet echoes of the White House linger, alongside the subtle ache of a life without children. She transforms loss into generosity, mentoring, supporting mercy ships, and championing animal welfare. Professionally, Dana stands in her prime, a trusted, steady voice on national television. Peter remains her constant, their marriage a daily choice of devotion. Together, they have created a life both fragile and invincible, anchored in love, gratitude, and presence. As Dana continues her broadcasts, writes new books, and champions young voices, she carries a truth forged across continents, challenges, and losses. Strength does not always roar. Sometimes it is a quiet, steady light that endures, outlasting every storm. If her story inspires reflection, courage, or hope, Let a like honor the woman who rose from humble beginnings to become a steadfast guide for millions.